Ivan C. Rand was born April 27, 1884, in humble surroundings as the son of a railway mechanic in Moncton, New Brunswick, Canada. As a young man, he worked for the Intercolonial Railway before attending Mount Allison University. Graduating as the valedictorian, he urged the class of 1909 to do the duty that lies nearest you, and let it be done honestly and thoroughly. From Mount Allison, he studied law at Harvard University, where he graduated with distinction in 1912. Moving to Western Canada, he opened a law office in Medicine Hat, Alberta, where he practiced law until 1920, when his wife's health forced him to return to Moncton. Rand served as the Attorney General of New Brunswick from 1924 to 25, and in 1926 he began work as a lawyer for the Canadian National Railways in Moncton. On April 22, 1943, Rand was appointed to the Supreme Court of Canada in Ottawa. He thus became one of the rare justices in the history of that court to be appointed directly from practice without prior judicial experience. Rand's sense of dignity, fair play, and desire to explore every issue in its totality were evident in his service on Canada's highest court. He was a strong proponent of human rationality and personal freedom. Logic, he observed, must yield to common sense as well as to justice. Running through Rand's life and judicial pronouncements was the unifying theme that we are privileged to live in a society of free persons, a society marked by the use of reason and dependent on a high degree of individual responsibility. The essence of democracy, he said, is self-restraint. This notion applied to individuals, groups, even governments. And according to his biographer William Kaplan, Rand believed that citizens had the right to think unpopular thoughts, express unpopular ideas, do unpopular things, belong to unpopular organizations with a minimum, if not an absence, of governmental interference. In a Law Review article in 1960, Rand wrote, "It is well to remind ourselves that the freedoms constitute at the same time essential attributes of man, his modes of self-expression. Without the world of ideas, feelings, instincts, and will with their communications, human beings would be of another order in the animal kingdom. Around such a being, societal laws are drawn, and the freedoms serve the necessities of individual realization as well as of the political community." Historians note that Rand is best known for his development of the implied Bill of Rights theory that he developed in a series of cases which ultimately protected oppressed minority groups. His protection of civil liberties took shape and was a giant step by the court towards our present recognition and acknowledgement of individual rights and freedoms. In 1946, Rand required payment of labor union dues by all employees in the bargaining unit of the collective agreement, whether they were members of the union or not. This is now known as the Rand Formula. After World War II, Justice Rand represented Canada on the UN Special Committee on Palestine. His vote on the committee was crucial for the creation of the State of Israel in 1948. In 1959, a forest in Jerusalem was named in his honor. He retired from the Supreme Court on April 27, 1959, at the age of 75. For the next 5 years, he served as the first Dean of Law at the University of Western Ontario and was involved in a number of royal commissions and consulted widely on labor legislation. Rand passed away in January 1968, just after spending Christmas and New Year's holidays with his family. William Kaplan said of Rand, "Even though Rand could be personally self-centered, narrow-minded, intolerant, and bigoted, his first-rate mind accompanied a third-rate temperament. He rose above it all in a handful of key cases that defined not only his career, but the court and the age in which he lived. He deployed legal tools to achieve justice and made a great, enduring, and inspirational contribution to Canadian law. Of all the judges to have served on the Supreme Court of Canada, Rand is without question the most distinctive in substance and in style. No one comes close to his poetry, his verve, and his style, and at the same time no other judgments are as convoluted and opaque. Concluded Ian Holloway that if you take Rand in his setting and time, what emerges is the picture of a principled man who thought deeply about the best way to enhance the standards of his profession as a means of strengthening and preserving for future generations the rule of law. When Rand spoke of things like duty, greatness, artistry, and imagination, he did so with a view to arming law students with transcendental skills which would stand the test of time and which would enable them to assume a place alongside the heroes of the common law as guardians of our constitutional tradition of freedom.